Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to webinar 3 of a series of 5, which are all part of the Tees Valley Trailblazers competition. I hope that you've found the previous 2 sessions useful and have some great ideas as to what businesses you might like to run in your school. This afternoon, I'm joined by Claire Lowes, Director of Vigor Doors, a company who make and sell fire doors. Claire's going to talk to you this afternoon about selling. In particular, she's going to talk about how important it is to pick the right name for your business and your product or service. She'll be using some well-known names that I'm sure you will have come across. So see how many you recognise. And don't forget to type any questions you might have in the chat facility as Claire is talking. And I will ask as many as I can at the end. So without further ado, over to you, Claire.
Hi guys. Oh, I think I've just doing one there. Hi guys, and welcome. Thanks for the introduction, Claire, and welcome to the competition, everybody. I'm just going to share my screen now. So can you all see me? I hope so.
Yeah, that's brilliant, Claire.
Sorry?
Yeah, fantastic.
Brilliant. So yeah, can you all hear me now and all see me? Yeah, so just well done on taking the leap into entering this competition. I hope you found, like Claire said, all the other sessions useful. So today we'll be taking you through a little presentation and talking to you about, as Claire said, the importance of marketing your business or selling it, making you stand out. So hopefully this will be a little bit of useful information for you to take away with you, and hopefully you enjoy it. So without further ado, we'll start the session. So marketing, what is marketing? Does anybody have any idea on what that actually means? So through this presentation, I'll keep giving you some questions throughout there, obviously interactive. So ask as many questions as you like and answer as many questions as you want to through the chat. I'm sure Claire will pick that up. So marketing is the action or business of promoting and selling products or services, including market research and advertising. So basically, it's a promotion of business products or your services to a target audience. So that's somebody specific who you are wanting to sell a product to. So common examples of marketing include television commercials, which we've all watched, the big billboards on the sides of the road that you see advertising certain products or services, magazine advertisements, which we've all read a magazine, and your parents will have magazines like Take a Break and things like that, which will have adverts in there targeted to that particular consumer or person who is reading that magazine. But not all businesses approach the need to market their goods and services in the same way. So question, can you think of a time or a day of an advert that stands out to a target audience? For example, I'm old. So if I'm in the house through the day, which is very rare, I see the Sun Life over 50 plans come on. You probably haven't seen that, but I think, I'm nearly 50. Should I get one when it comes around? But that's targeting people of my age that may want to buy an insurance plan. But what would you expect to see, for example, 7:30 on a morning in mid-November, or a weekend in early March, or even Boxing Day? There's various things when you think about the adverts on the TV that you see. Those companies are targeting specific people to buy their products. So mid-November, late October, you'll start to see all the toys coming on the TV. FIFA 2022 will be out shortly, I've no doubt. That'll start coming out around Christmas time. Weekends in early March, you've got Mother's Day. That's coming up. You'll have all seen the adverts for Moonpig and so and such as are like selling cards. Get your mum a card, get your mum some flowers, here's some nice chocolates. They'll start selling things like that to make you think about buying their products. Boxing Day, obviously the day after Christmas. Christmas is gone. There's no more toys on the adverts on the TV. Now it kind of gets boring for you guys because the parents now think, oh, there's an SCS sale. I'll go and buy a couch. Or, oh, look, the jet tour adverts on. We'll go and book a holiday. So if you can sort of like think about the things that they actually advertise on the TV and who they're actually targeting, is what you guys need to start to look at when you find out what you actually want to do. So if you want to do, you know, you've got a dog walking business, you target people who have pets, or people who, like myself, who work full time, who mightn't have time through the day to take the pets out. But hang on, I can do that. And you can take the pets out. And you just need to look at sort of certain people who may want to buy your products and market it that way. So marketing is also the use of subconscious marketing, which is something that's right in the back of your brain that you don't even think about until you see it. Then you see a logo and all of a sudden you think, oh yeah, I know what that is, or I want one of them, but you haven't been thinking about it. So I'm going to put a couple of logos up. There's the first one. Can anybody tell me what that is? Because I'm too old to know things like this. And also this one, which is, again, a pretty recognizable logo. So again, if you can type your answers in the chat facility, that would be great. I think everybody will be able to guess this. But again, if we can just think about, were you actually thinking about these two companies when we started this presentation? So the next thing we're going to look at is brand stories. Now, we'll move further on into the branding, but this is just a couple of companies that you'll probably recognize. Hopefully you'll recognize them, and how they actually got from being nobody to being who they are today. It's just a brief sort of run through of their brand, or their story. So anyone can have a logo, which we all hope, well, I do. I actually do recognize this logo. But what does it mean? Does it mean anything? So the McDonald's logo came when two brothers, Morris and Richard McDonald, took over their father's small hamburger shop called the Air Dome back in 1940. What they actually did, they decided to rejig the building and got a new architect in. What the architect then did was design the building around their name, which was McDonald's, or M. So that then became the Golden Arches, which was quite good. And now I think everybody recognises those Golden Arches. Now, back in 1940, these two brothers decided we'll have a visual recognisable logo. So again, with McDonald's, many people I would have thought have Happy Meals. I love Happy Meals, by the way, especially the fish finger ones, if they still do them. But do you buy it because it's from McDonald's, or do you buy it because you enjoy it? When you see that logo, do you suddenly think, oh, I'm starving, I really fancy a McDonald's? Were you really hungry at that time, or has that logo triggered something? Again, their tagline is, I'm loving it. And I think we've all sang that when the advert's on. And again, that's part of your subconscious, basically waking up and going, oh, McDonald's, oh, I'm hungry, I'm starving, I need a McDonald's. And that's just one of the things that comes across from them. So starting from somebody really tiny, two brothers thought, I'm going to make some hamburgers because my dad's not very good at it. And now they've got franchises, which is other little shops all over the world, and they're very, very recognizable. So another one that we've got is Virgin. So Mr. Richard Branson now has his own island and everything else, his own private jet and all that kind of stuff. But did you realize that he was actually dyslexic at school, and he dropped out of school at 16 because he just couldn't do it? So for somebody who couldn't do anything, he's now a billion trillionaire, or however many pennies he's got in his pocket, and made a fantastic success of many businesses. Now, he started off in 1970 with his friend Nick Powell by opening a record shop. He's done many other things since then. There's Virgin Weddings, there's got Virgin Banks, we've got Virgin Holidays and Virgin Planes and everything but from a guy who started off with his friend from a record shop, he came up with his logo. Now, his logo, if you look at it closely, just point my mouse, I think, the V is actually a tick. And that was Richard Branson's idea to put that tick there as the Virgin seal of approval for his services, which is quite clever. So that's Virgin. So now we're going to talk a little bit more about the brand. So who are you? What do you love doing? What do you want to do as a team, as an individual? If you want to start out on your own, you need to find out who you are as a person, because your brand is a person just like you. So it has its own personality. If you're bubbly and you're outgoing, or you're like, for example, I've mentioned it before, you like walking dogs. There's no point starting a business with something that you don't like, because you won't feel it. You won't feel your brand. You won't be able to express your interest and your love for what you're selling if you don't like what you're selling, or you don't relate to what you're selling. So basically, when a set of human characteristics are given to a brand name, it's known as a brand personality. So providing a brand with a personality makes it easier for potential customers to identify, connect, and most of all, remember it. So for example, you are selling pens. So if you're not really into selling pens, you may say, do you want to buy a pen? I wouldn't buy a pen off. I wouldn't buy a pen off me if I said, do you want to buy a pen? However, if I was bubbly, outgoing, and I loved this pen, I'd be saying, this is not just a pen. This is an implement to make your life easy. This comes in body colors. It's black, yellow, blah, blah, blah. You're selling something that you love doing because you believe in that. You've put your whole heart and soul into that. So brand personality is not to be confused, however, with a logo, because again, with McDonald's, there's a little bit of story behind that. With the Virgin logo, there's a story behind that. You need to have a story behind your logo. It doesn't necessarily have to, look like you, but it needs to maybe stand out as your personality or what your business is about. A successful brand personality isn't just what you see. It should create an emotional response in the mind of your target customer. So for example, the pen. Do you want to buy a pen? Or would you like to buy this pen? There's a different way of creating a response from a customer. So I would remember, look at this pen, rather than, do you want to buy a pen? And I'd probably buy a pen off the other person. Just little things like that. They'll remember certain things, and they'll become attached to that. Oh, I think I've cut myself off.
Yeah, we've just lost your visual. We can still see this. Yeah. We can still hear you, Claire, if you want to carry on.
It's the screen, so.
There, you're back.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, guys. I am old in technology. So let's talk a little bit about emotions. I'm going to show you a series of logos that come up. And using the chat facility, I just want you to look at them and maybe put something on there. When you see that logo, how it makes you feel. Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you hungry? So on and so forth. So let's see what we think about these logos or these pictures. So there's number one. As we can see, looks like all our favorite Disney characters in one place. How does that make you feel when you see that? Are you happy? Are you sad? Do you just want to curl up on the couch with some popcorn and watch a Disney film? Again, we've seen it before. McDonald's. Are you hungry? I am. And then we've got Xbox up there. Obviously, it actually says Xbox, so I know I don't need to tell you what that means. But yeah, how does that make you feel when you see that? Do you suddenly want to go and play whatever games you kids play, FIFA or whatever? My personal favorite was Guitar Hero. I loved it. And then we've got the Apple logo. I think we've all got some kind of telephone communication device now. Nowadays, when I was little, we had nothing. It was a telephone box up the street, but now we can all play games on our phones now. And then we've got the iconic Adidas logo. Do you suddenly want to go for a run, or do you just want to run away? And then we finish off that with the Coca-Cola logo. Again, a very recognizable logo, and all of a sudden I've got a dry mouth and I feel thirsty. I really fancy some Coca-Cola, but I've got none, so I can't. So yeah, those are just little things that may trigger some kind of response or some kind of feeling right in the back of your mind, that until you've seen that, you wouldn't have been thinking about that. You wouldn't have been thinking that you were thirsty, or you wouldn't have been thinking that you were hungry, or all of a sudden you want to get your Xbox out. But those are little things that companies look at to try and trigger you to go, oh, all of a sudden I need one of those. So let's go into a little bit about their brand, your brand personality, and what I sort of mean around that. So with regards to Adidas, or Adidas, or however we say it now, the second largest sportswear maker in the world. Can anyone guess who number one is? Answers in the chat facility. Obviously I know, but I'm not going to tell you. So yeah, so they're the second largest sportswear maker in the world. Now they have the ability to tap into what customers want to be. It's quite a clever marketing trick they have. For example, I want to be cool. I'll have to go and get myself, I want a pair of Adidas trainers, man. Can you go and get me an Adidas tracksuit? Because I want to be cool. So the message being broadcast is, if you buy Adidas, you will fit in. Now, that's, again, a marketing ploy. It's not necessarily true, because you shouldn't have to go out and buy all these clothes because the adverts say that we're cool. It's like, I've got makeup on now because it says I would look like a model, but I don't. However, that's how marketing companies look at potential customers. They'll sell their wares to say, right, if you've got to wear this, everybody's going to be wearing it, so I'm going to be really cool. If you look as well at some of the Adidas adverts that you see on the TV, they use young people within them, boys, girls, you know, just to basically target an audience to make you feel hip and trendy. You might be really boring, but if you wear a pair of Adidas trainers, you're going to be hip and trendy. That's the message to send out. So also they use top athletes and football sponsorships. Has anybody got football shirts or whatever with Adidas logos on? You do this because by using world-renowned athletes that represent the brand, customers may feel that by wearing them, that they obviously, now they become an absolute top-class footballer, and they want to score loads of goals because they've got an Adidas t-shirt on. Again, it doesn't mean that, you know, you can wear Adidas and be really rubbish at football. But that's the message that they're sending out, and they're quite, you know, they're very good at it. So their character, so who they are as a business, or who they are when they started way back, where they're sporty and fashionable. That's the kind of personality they have, if you like. What they bring to that, and what they bring out with their personality, is excitement. So we're looking at, you know, you've seen the advert on the telly, and you want that pair of Adidas trainers because they've just come out, or the Adidas football boots, and you're excited to go and buy them. You're excited to go and play football in those boots. And that's the message that they're trying to send out. Their tagline is "Impossible is nothing." And I want, as you guys go through this program and this competition, I'd like you to actually think about what that means. Nothing is impossible. It may be hard. You may find days where you just, oh, I can't do it. I can't come up with a business idea. I can't come up with a logo. But remember, impossible is nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing. And you guys can do this. And that's quite a nice, I quite like that tagline. What I'm going to do now, and hopefully it works, is I'm going to show you a short YouTube video of one of the Adidas adverts that they were promoting. What I'd like you to have a look at when you're watching it, just have a little think about what people they're targeting, who they're targeting, and maybe why they're targeting these particular people. So it's only about a minute long. But yeah, so if you use the chat facility, that would be great. Hopefully it works.
I always felt like I was just fighting to even have a chance to make it.
Oh, now we can hear the sound, but we can't see the video.
Right,
It scares
so
them.
let's have a look.
I never felt like quitting.
There's no day I feel like losing. The harder the struggle, the more glorious the triumph.
Every day I'm sore, but that's the life
Sorry,
I
it's not
chose.
doing it.
We tested this as well, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Do you want to just try it again? And then if we
Yeah, I'll try it again. Can you see that part?
No, we can just see your screen.
Right, sorry guys, I'll try that again.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
No, it did seem to click on a little bit just before there. We might just have to move on, Claire.
Right, okay. Right, anyway, that particular video was about young women dressed in Adidas clothing and footwear, but they were doing things like boxing training, athletics, football, so on and so forth, things that may have been more male orientated around, you know, boys and men who play football, who do boxing, so on and so forth. Because I think in general, in my opinion, a lot of the sportswear manufacturers target, or the clothing that you get, are targeted more towards men rather than women. And I think what Adidas are trying to do, potentially, they may have, you know, saturated the market. So that means they've gone, every man in the world is buying the clothes, but they're making more. So they need to find a way now of selling it to somebody else. So that video really was about how Adidas now seem to be targeting, you know, young women and girls, but making it exciting for them to potentially, I want to be a boxer or I want to be a footballer because I get to wear Adidas clothing. It was quite a good video. Hopefully we can get it sorted out at some point for you to have a look at, or you can just Google and if you can see the link on the screen, just Google "Never Walk Away Adidas" on YouTube, and you should be able to see that video, which is good because it is quite a good video. And I think it, you know, when you look at it and you realize, or in your mind you think, yeah, they are looking at targeting other people, which is quite clever in a way. So onto me and us and where we came from and who we are and how we've gotten to where we are today. So who are we? Okay, so Vigor Doors was established in actually the 19th of March 2019. So that'll be 2 years tomorrow, by myself and my business partner, Gareth. That's Gareth, his ugly mug, although he thinks he looks gorgeous, but he is a good salesman, possibly because he's got the looks. And there's me. Obviously, I look a little bit different today because I've just finished work, because we're very, very busy. So why we do it? Well, we both worked for a previous fire door maker in Teesside. I was there for 8 or 9 years, and it just felt the bigger the company grew, so the more people we had and the more sales we had, the importance of what we were doing and the message was lost. they forgot what the brand personality was and instead focused on simply sales. We need to get sales, we need to get the sales out of the door, and we'll just employ anybody. So that's where sort of why we did it. And we also said, guess what? We made the most scary decision ever. And I know Katie Bowman Cook talked about at the beginning, we became a copycat entrepreneurs, which is somebody who starts another business with somebody else's business model. So our brand and our logo, that was our first attempt. Looks great, it's black and grey. We're the smallest fire door set maker in Teesside. Our target audience was joinery companies across the whole of the UK. Our message to customers was that we were passionate about what we do, and we want to get it right. Also, our character traits, as you can see on the logo, was passionate, principled, and proud. And our brand personality was sincerity, because we were sincere and we love what we're doing. Tagline, we didn't really have one. So, our final brand, the last one, that's our new fancy dancy logo with a little emoji, which that's what I thought it looked like. Do you want me to try the video, Claire, or shall I just go through?
And give it a go. We've got about 5 minutes left, Claire.
Right, give it a quick go. See if this one works. Is it working? No.
We've got the sound, but we don't have the visual.
Oh, dear. Right, well, we'll scrap that. So basically what that video is, that now shows you our brand and who we are as a company, as an organisation, and what we actually stand for. We didn't have that when we first started. We thought we had a brand, we thought we had a really good logo and everything was great, but we didn't really believe in what we were doing. We didn't really believe it. We didn't feel it in here. So we all sat down, had a big, massive brainstorming session, said, come on, we need to sell us. We need to sell Vigor for what we believe in and who we are. So this is now our tagline, is now Doors for Life. This is our logo. We now of England, particularly Teesside. Our target audience is anyone who needs a fire door, be it builders to builders merchants, my mum's brother, my next door neighbours have a fire door one for us, charity organisations, hotels, student accommodation. So if anyone of you wants to go to university and you stay in halls of residence, we may have made those fire doors to keep you guys safe. Hospitals, you name it, we make it. And our message to our customers is Doors for Life, and it has 3 meanings. We'll talk about that in a second. So our brand character has now changed to caring, trustworthy and honest, because we care about the product that we're making. We're honest to our customers. We don't lie to them. We don't say, yes, you can have it tomorrow when it's actually going to be 6 weeks, because that just doesn't, your customers don't trust you. Again, we're trustworthy to our customers. But our brand personality is still the same, sincerity. We've just changed it a little bit. We've looked at who we are as an organisation and who we are as people, and we put our personalities now into the business. Now, tagline, Doors for Life, which means, number 1, robust fire door sets that can last a lifetime. Door sets that save lives, and that's the most important thing here. We're making a door that will save somebody's life if we have a fire. And we're also enriching the lives of our employees by giving them a nice place to work. We're quite relaxed. We all enjoy it, and we all go for the same thing, Doors for Life. So what does our logo actually mean? And this is quite the important thing for me within this. So a lot of you might just look at that now and go, it's a big emoji. However, it means something. So let us go through it. So these 2 little dots are the employees. The middle section, who manufacture the fire doors. And the last one, that stop the fire. So our employees make the doors that stop the fire, which is into a nice, clever little V, which is obviously us in a nutshell. So now over to you guys on this exciting journey. So just a few key points to take away: your product. So make sure that you research or know what you are making offering. Does it meet your customers' demand or interest? If not, how do you get them interested? Your price. Ensure you've priced your product well enough so that if anybody else is doing the same thing, you're not going to be too cheap and don't make any money, or you're going to be, too expensive and nobody's going to buy it off you. Ensure you pick the right place to sell your goods. So it's no good selling, for example, cards and crafty things in a fish market if the customer who's going to the fish market only wants to buy fish, because you'll just walk straight past you. And your promotion, for example, if you want to target the housewives with soap or the dog walkers, for example, why not put little samples through the letterboxes or little notes through the letterboxes saying you offer these kind of services? Or if you're rich enough, put a TV advert on. Just like The Apprentice, make yourself stand out. Ask yourself, why should they buy your soap? And finally, first things first, you need to sit down and find out who your customers are, who you want to sell your product to. Write some bullet points down, draw your dream customer up, get creative. Only you guys know what your business is going to be, and you guys will know who you want to buy your products. Once you know who your customer is, you can then begin to create a personality for your brand. Things that your customer will relate to and enjoy, like ours. They relate to Fire Doors and they relate to us as Doors for Life. When you see a famous brand on the TV, in a magazine, or on your phone, you'll probably already associate them with a particular feeling. Again, this is because they've carefully crafted their brand personality in order to shape the way people feel about their product, service, or mission, which I think, as we said earlier, I think it's very clever how they do it, but I like to think that we've now done that at Vigor Doors. So how are we going to feel about your brand, guys? I'm sure you're all excited and raring to go. But one thing I can say to you is, well done, keep going, never give up. So good luck, guys.
That's brilliant. Thank you. Thank you very much. Claire has some excellent pointers, really. And it's sometimes you just watch these brands, don't you? And you watch the TV and you kind of think, oh, you know, why is that on now? You know, I see those 50-year-old Saga adverts as well. So it's not just you. So yeah, very clever, very simple, very targeted, but very effective. So some and that final slide, really, so that the students can think about what it is that they're going to come up with, and some important things to think about. As you say,
definitely.
No point selling crafts in a fish market because nobody's there to buy crafts. So a few questions. So what advice, because they're very much starting the journey of their business in schools, what advice would you give to them as a place to start to come up with like a business name? What do you think's the sort of best idea, the best advice that you could give to them?
To be fair, what we did, we obviously Vigor comes from vigorous, because we're obviously vigorous quality. We're very sort of conscientious about what we do and why we're doing it. So we sort of just put some things in Google, really, and came up with various names. There was loads of different names that came up, and then we sort of looked at that one and thought, yeah, that means something. That means something to us. But again, I mean, if you're all doing it in a group, you just, think about. Again, McDonald's was if anyone can come up with that kind of name, because it's the end of, the surname type thing. But depending on what you're actually doing, try and think of a name relating around that. If you're making cupcakes and you're called Millie's Cupcakes, or, think of something like a twist on that to make it a bit more exciting,
Yeah, and lots of ideas, very, very related to the product, but lots of ideas. No idea is a silly idea. You just got to work through the best.
Definitely not.
Yeah,
exactly. And I think the guys last week on theirs were exactly the same. It doesn't matter how many ideas you've got, put them all on the table. If you've got 1 million ideas between you, put them all on the table and think about, as a team, why that one might work or why that one might work, and start to sort of go through them all, and then your pile will dwindle down, and all of a sudden you've got this fantastic name that mightn't mean anything to anybody else yet, but it means everything to you guys.
Yeah. So, and I think they've got the benefit of them working in fairly large teams, so that certain people will have certain ideas and some people might have completely different ideas, but it's that teamwork, isn't it? Exactly,
it is. And the important thing as a team is, if you have a team of people and you're all the same, you'll all get the same ideas. There's no point. You need those different team members with different skills and abilities to make a successful team like we have at work, that can say to you, I don't really like that idea. how about this idea? Or what do you think about this one? You know, if people go around and go, yeah, that's okay, you're not buying into it. You know, you're not being honest with yourselves as a team. And I think that's another big thing I would say to all you guys working in a team. Don't be afraid to ask somebody, why have you come up with that? Or I don't agree with that. Because if you sit and just go along with it, you're not getting on that journey with everybody else. Or you're not being honest to yourself or your team that, you know, you buy into it. If you don't agree with something, put your hands up and say, look, guys, I don't really agree with that, or I don't understand why. Always ask why, always question yourselves and each other. You're going to get the best out of each other that way. And at the end of the day, it's not personal, it's business.
Yeah, exactly. So do you have to name your product or service the same as your company name? So I guess Nike have a whole load of sort of almost sub-brands, don't they, with names for different, and Adidas do the same with names for different trainers. So it's just sort of to answer that question, do you have to have a company name and then have a product name, or can they be the same? Or
no, but you know, they could be the same. So our Vigor Doors, without the doors, nobody would know what we do. But we're just Vigor Doors, and we make fire door sets. We don't particularly have a name for them, or you know, like you know, Vigor Doors, fancy door one type thing. You know, we just make fire doors. We have soundproof doors, fire doors, screens, but they're not particularly, they're not named after anything. They're just a door set, or you know, a door and a frame, different types of materials and what have you. But no, we don't actually have a name for our doors or a name for our products.
And I guess if they've got time, you know, they could do that, but their time might be best placed working out how much they're going to charge for things and how much it costs.
Definitely. I mean, it takes a while to build up when we're talking about the names for the trainers that Nike have and so on and so forth. It takes a long time to build up what's called a portfolio of different types of products that you sell. If you guys don't have time for that, because again, when you think about it, every product that you make is a little company of its own type thing. It's got its own personality. So you're going to have to, so what's going to happen is you're potentially going to have to come up with a personality for your business, and then a personality for every type of product that you're going to sell. And that will take a long time. And a lot of companies do that, even in our industry. But it takes a long time to build that portfolio up and come up with these brainstorming ideas. So yeah, I mean, by all means, it is a good idea and it's a good route to go, but I think it would take quite a while.
Yeah, it's just sort of keeping it simple, isn't it? You know, they've only got a few months to sort of start and finish the competition.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think it's about keeping it simple, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. The simpler it is, the better. Nothing has to be complicated. You just need to come up with a fantastic idea, a good product, but most of all, find out who you're going to sell that to and are they going to buy it.
Yeah. And I think on that note, sort of what would you suggest? Have you got any idea about products and services that might be appropriate to sell in schools? I mean, from sort of my experience, you know, you always have the cupcakes and you always have the biscuits and you have the bath bombs, and but you know, maybe they need to be thinking that's fine, but maybe they need to be thinking about other things. So is there anything that you know, again, thinking about their market, it's going to be the parents, teachers, friends of teachers or whatever themselves. Yep. Any ideas, Claire?
Well, to be fair, personally, I would be looking at more crafty, and I know I mentioned it before, because you can get little things now and you can make amazing cards, you can make amazing key rings, and they're all personalized. I think the way the world's going now is personalization. That's just my opinion, obviously, because you know, things like Mother's Day, you can go to the shop and get a Mother's Day card off the shelf, or you can make one, but it can be personalized. I know my daughter does a lot of that now, and she's got her own little Etsy shop on the internet, and the amount of personalization that she can do now. And I think parents will buy it for their parents, the kids can buy it for their parents, even friends, you can buy it together. You know, there's so many snazzy things you can come up with now. Sweet trees, which are quite good, but also I know adults are now doing adult trees with little bottles of gins in and things like that rather than the sweet. And these things are really taking off. It's just, yeah, more personalization of goods would be just my preference or my idea.
Yeah, so there's a few ideas that I hadn't even thought about, but I know when I look for Christmas cards, it's quite difficult because my mum's remarried and my dad's remarried, and it's finding specific card, and you're digging through all those Christmas cards, aren't you, to try and find the one that's going to be appropriate for that audience. So yeah, you know, think about the personalization of products, as you say. And I think just again, the final question is, how important is it to research your market?
Oh, hugely important. Again, you don't have to spend a massive amount of time on it. But yeah, definitely go around. If you've got an idea, so for example, you want to sell pens. Who writes really anymore? Everybody's got computers and laptops and dictation, you talk on your phone and things like that now. Look at what potentially people might want to buy. Because again, there's no point saying, right, I'm going to make a lot of pens because that's what I like to do, if nobody's going to buy a pen because they don't use pens anymore. But if you research your market, you can find out who still uses pens and who would like to buy a pen. And there's no good making it not asking anybody their opinion, or a customer their opinion on what they would like to buy, because you just be making things and you're going to sit there with them. So for example, this crafty thing, everybody's got house keys, everybody's got car keys. Everybody might have a key ring, but does that key ring say, you know, Happy Mother's Day, Mum, from Mary or Tom or the dog, or as I've got a duck, the duck, you know, just little things like that, you know, is a personal touch for people. And especially when we were talking, or when you mentioned Christmas cards and things like that, everybody has blended families now, but it's really hard to get a card or, you know, something that includes that in, you know. And I think, yeah, I definitely buy, you know, personalized cards now and things like that, because it just means so much more than getting one off the shelf. And I think, and I know I've got my daughter Charlie, she's doing quite well. She's been asked now to make somebody's wedding invitations, which is quite important because of just who she's targeting. She's sort of, you know, she goes onto Facebook and she targets a lot of young people with, like Adidas do, hip and trendy things, and then, you know, myself and friends and things like that with personalization. So yeah, but without her sort of asking those questions, look, what would you buy if I was to come out with an idea to sell this? Would you buy it? Do you think that's a good idea? But don't, you know, ask your parents, ask your family, ask your friends. But most of all, don't be afraid to stop somebody in the street or stop your teachers and say, Miss, sir, if I made this, would you buy that? Because they might be able to come up with another idea or a twist on what you're potentially going to make. And it's really good to get other people's ideas and opinions before you actually go, right, I'm going to make this and then I'm going to sell it for that. Because if you haven't asked your customers, you're not going to sell anything.
Yeah, all fantastic advice. That's brilliant. So yeah, lots and lots of ideas there, lots of routes that they can go down, and lots of opportunities as well. So that's brilliant. Thank you, Claire, for your time this afternoon. I'm sure that's been hugely beneficial to the schools. I
hope so. I hope it wasn't death by PowerPoint, guys.
No, it wasn't, Claire. Shame about the videos, but the schools can have a look at those at a later date.
Yeah, they're all available on YouTube.
Yeah, brilliant. So just to say thanks for joining us this afternoon, Claire, and thanks to all the schools who've joined us this afternoon. Our next webinar, just looking at my sheet here, is Wednesday the 24th of March, and that one's all about money, Claire, which At the end of the day,
Ooh.
that's what it's about, isn't it? It's,
Makes the world go round.
that's
is.
right. It's really, really important. So we've got that next Wednesday, the 24th of March at 1 o'clock. And then the final webinar is on the 15th of April, and that's all about pitching. So we've got someone to talk to the students about pitching, which again, you've got a very short period of time to be able to sell your product. So, you know, that's an important session as well. So thank you once again.
Welcome, thank you. Good luck, everybody.
Yes, and we might get you back to do some judging, Claire.
Oh, yes, I'm a harsh judge. They
Well,
better be good. No, good luck, guys.
We'll look out for that. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Bye.
Just got a bit of a delay on that, Claire, so I'm just waiting for the YouTube to finish and then I'll be back to you.